94 rocks the dark, and yes, the end of Summer Bash is just around the corner. It's coming up on Saturday, October 1st, and it's headlined by Trapt. And on the phone right now, I have the lead singer, Chris Taylor Brown. And first of all, Chris, thanks so much for joining me. How you doing tonight?
I am ecstatic.
Hey, let's talk
Can't
about
wait for the show.
Yeah. Let's talk about Trapt a little bit. I was just talking to you before we went on the air here. I can't believe it's already been 20 years since you put out your self-titled album. Is it hard to believe it's been 20 years?
You know, it's been a wild ride for sure. But, you know, we put our first two albums on a major label, and then the second two albums on like I don't know what they are now. They seem like a major label, but for rock, it's like, you know, like Pop Roach and Drowning Pool and Buckcherry and Trapt. This label kind of, you know, did their independent albums, you know, quote unquote. But after that, we just truly independent is when you don't have a label, you do your own thing. Because if you have, you know, those big teams behind you, then you kind of got to do what they say too, and that's just not not ideal, obviously. So, you know, since 2012, we've been 100% independent and been able to express ourselves in any way we want to on any platform. So that was always the goal.
And of course, you've been out on tour this year in 2022, and what you were telling me, it's been just awesome.
Yeah, it's seriously like better shows in 2006. I would have to say it's just and very consistent and really like without even a lot of promotion, we could do a lot more, but it's been amazing just, I guess, through TikTok and you know, we're Trapt official on there and just, I guess YouTube and this and that, but really just getting the word out over the last couple of years of just kind of being headstrong, I guess, you know, and just kind of saying some of the things that I feel like bands would have said in the 70s or 60s and that I feel is pretty weird that they're not saying today. But, you know, we're always trying to be our own thing, you know, and not, you know, jump on a bandwagon. That's basically what Trapt's been about since the beginning.
Hey, let's go back to the beginning. Did you ever think it would turn out to be this way for you guys? I mean, when you started out as a young band, from the stories that I read, you kind of got together in middle school and started some stuff. Did you ever think that one day you would be on a national platform?
You know, we had our backup plans for sure, but I think that you really got to kind of commit to your A plan, which we did. But we you know, we made sure that there was labels and different people who were involved in the music industry that were trying to track us down and get us to sign with them and so on and so forth before we dropped our plan Bs, you know. So, but ultimately we still did the 8 months with no plan B, just like, you know, hopefully we get a better deal, you know, than some of the crappy deals that artists get sucked into. But we you know, we decided we're not going to do that and took a risk and said no to one company, and then 8 months later signed with another company that gave us much better terms and freedom and all that kind of stuff. And the rest is history, you know?
I'm kind of curious, Chris, if you never would have got any farther than you were, what would you have done, I guess, growing up then? What were your plans if you weren't going to be a singer?
I was going to UC Santa Barbara for mechanical engineering. You know, I had an uncle in a pretty high-level biomedical company that I was working for between freshman and sophomore year, and then dropped out of my sophomore year to just do it full time, the music thing. But you know, I'm sure that would have been not nearly as fun as the last 20 years.
That, and I think your fans would have not been happy either, because you wouldn't have had fans. Exactly. Hey, I do want to go back to 20 years, and of course, a song that everybody knows, and the song that's kind of your staple song, as you even talked about it, Headstrong. That song, and it's hard to believe because I've been looking at charts for years. That was one of the biggest charting songs of all time in the sense of being on the charts for so long. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a #1 alternative rock song of the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
it's
and the press will never give us that.
I know,
you know, because and you know why, and so does the So is everybody else that can see what happens when you don't agree with the mainstream. It's like they want to use you as an example and do whatever they can. But I think at the end of the day, I think Trump's showing this that, the more you get attacked and you survive, you just get stronger every time they do that,
Yeah. And I think it's become a theme song of so many people, hasn't it?
I just feel like the last thing to do for that song was to live it and not just write songs and then cower behind, my media, my PR company or whatever, and just be this, be who I am and not be worried about it. And the only possible way that could ever have happened is being an independent band. So I'm sure the people at iHeartRadio who decided they're going to blackball Trapt because they say that I'm a white supremacist or defend white supremacists, when that's just completely a lie. Very much the opposite. Then you just, you're over the mark when companies like that are literally taking the biggest song of the 2000s off of all their radio stations.
Right. Well, I tell you one thing, we've been a Trapt supporter forever here, and we will always be a Trapt supporter.
I'd much rather be, on a station there in Piers than anywhere else that believes that we can't all just make this country a better country. Like to say, oh, those people are bad for the country because they want a better life. It's just, that's what's going on. So,
well, and I
don't want to see it.
And I believe, and I'm not getting too political, but I believe the founding fathers said this country was open for everybody, right? So you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah. Well, it's there are people. This is what I say. There's freedom-loving people, and then there's little tyrants telling everyone else what to do in the name of the government. That's it. Two people. There's two types of people, and Democrats are more on the side of tell you what to do, and the Republicans are more on the side of to each and to their own. Generally speaking, and that's how it should be. So
well,
we'll see how it goes as far as what the people demand. And so I'm trying to do what I can do to say, hey, you won't get canceled. Your career might even do better if you stand up for this.
Yeah, and the thing too, I think you're doing is also other people that are feeling inside that never could do something like that now are finally coming out and saying, hey, you know what? I can do this because other people are doing it.
Yeah, that was the motivation behind the whole thing from the very get-go in 2020 when the virus hit and everyone's like, oh, Trump was going to be blamed for anything that happened after that, and I was like, okay, I got to jump in here and say some stuff and just feel like that I can look in the mirror at the end of the day. That's all I care about. I don't care about more fans or crowd or whatever. I don't care about more influence or more followers on my TikTok page or any of that. I care about looking in the mirror at the end of the day and saying that if I can see something that I think is wrong, I can actually say something about it, because I feel like that's what they did back in the day 50 years ago in Vietnam. And so I don't want to be an artist that doesn't do that when I see an obvious different route more advantageous for the average American.
Awesome.
But whatever,
Yeah, we're talking with Chris Taylor Brown from Trapt. He's going to be at our show, End of Summer Bash. Maybe it'll be our own little Woodstock going on here. Huh? Is that what it's going to be like?
It's going to be awesome, man.
Should be.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So let's talk about what do we expect at a Trapt show then? What are the fans going to see coming up next week?
Well, we're going to just bring it hard with that first album, and then I'd love to just keep jamming, and we have so many songs that I know people want to hear, and that we're gonna have a great time into the night. We'll definitely take it to that hour and a half mark.
I want to hear as many Trapt songs as I possibly can as we spin here on 94 Rocks, because I love
it, man.
Yeah, I do want to ask about the song, and I love we spun earlier this year, and we're still spinning it, Fire. I want to.
Right on,
I love that song. I love that song.
We will definitely be playing that one.
But I'm kind of curious about what is your interpretation of that song?
Well, it's like you got all these haters trying to bring you down, and it's like it's just a defiant against those people that the more you rise up, the more they want to pull you down, and saying like, don't stand too close to this fire unless you're gonna let it burn,
Yeah.
And so that's like, just, you got to be yourself no matter what people say about you, because you got to look in the mirror, man. So that's what I just think it's not about what everybody else thinks of you. It's about what you think of you, because if you think of you highly, you don't need to care about what everyone else thinks about you. The people who don't think highly of themselves are the people who need everybody else's approval. So that's the point of that song.
Nice. Very nice. All right, we need to sell some tickets. So how are people going to come to this Trapt show? They want to come, right? So let's. Why would they want to see Trapt next week?
Well, I would have to say that it's just going to be. I know there's going to be a lot of Trapt fans there at the show, and anybody who hasn't been to a show was going to see people singing words to every song and meaning it, and not. And knowing that these people that come to our shows and sing the words back at me like have lived the same experiences, and that's the most rewarding part of all this, is that we've all been through the same stuff. Nobody has been through like a higher level thing than anybody else, or a lower level thing. We all have gone through good and bad times. We know what good and bad times are, and so we just got to help each other have good times.
I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to you guys showing up here and having a great show, and I wish you safe travels, and we're going to talk to you soon, okay?
Hell yeah. Can't wait.
Should be a great time. Once again, that is Chris Taylor Brown. Of course, he's with the band Trapt. They're going to be here on October 1st at the 5th Annual End of Summer Bash. They're headlining. We talked about the song Fire. We're going to play it right now. You're hearing it where you hear the new rock first in Central Minnesota. It's The Dark on 94 Rocks.